面那里有几颗很漂亮，我刚才没摘。
过去摘。
This is yomogi. Yomogi is mugwort. What we do with it is we use tempura. We make beer out of it. It's very versatile.
Oh, that's beautiful. Huh? We're gonna use this leaf for the mochi. After you ranch it and smash it and adding the mochi together, it comes to the green color and also the flavor into the mochi.
Oh, a lot right here. I think all chefs at the end of the day would love to have a tasting menu or omakase where they could put together what they think is best. The tasting menu allows them to express how they feel and try to tap into what's the chef thinks is the best moment of ingredients or to be eaten.
Shuko came to be from Nick and Jimmy. Shuko is their brainchild. I mean, the two of them came together and created this beautiful atmosphere of a tasting menu, and we really just want to make sushi fun again. Nick and Jimmy are very, very talented. Both are amazing when it comes to food. Nick is really good at, seeing the bigger picture and everything that's going on. He's good at really directing the staff and how to do stuff and what to do. And Jimmy is extremely talented when it comes to doing sushi and fish and breaking down fish and, creative ideas. They're just two great guys, and they have great attitudes and great personalities, and just a lot of fun.
A little period of time.
So right now I'm gonna make tartar, use the total, the skin side, all the fats. So I'm gonna mix together.
Jimmy has a lot of one-liners throughout the night that are pretty good. What did he say the other night? He was like, my blood sugar low, I need Riesling.
I grew up from China and I like to eat, that's why I like to be chef. Yeah.
Well, I think any relationship is difficult. I don't think nothing is easy. Jimmy's sort of very centered, very peace and just calm, so that's very helpful. Especially the, restaurants plus partners, just all the things that come together. It's sort of intense on a daily basis. He's sort of the good cop and I'm sort of the bad cop, so it kind of works. When I got into cooking, I sort of started in the French kitchen, spent time in France as a stagiaire in Spain. Loved it throughout my youth and working at French restaurants, but all it was an infatuation. And when I started working for Masa in Los Angeles, it filled me up with what I was seeking. And that's where the Japanese culture or cuisine sort of kicked in. We closed the shop in 2002 to move to Columbus Circle, New York in 2003.
Masa come to the Columbus Circle, New York, and I met the Nick there. I was running the bar Masa side, and the Nick was running the Masa side. After lunch, we have a break time. During the time only Nick and I together, and every day we was talking about the food things and the future.
So we spent a lot of time sort of daydreaming a lot of times, In 2009-10, I left Masa in order to pursue Netta. Once it was sort of established, Jimmy left Masa and kind of we formed together to open up Netta as what it is. And then from there, we decided that we wanted to open up something more closer to what we do, which is Shuko. When I first started to work Masa in LA, my job for the first 6 months was to sand down the counter in LA, so I got a good lesson on that. Anyone that sanded counters maybe understands that kind of like intimate one-on-one with the wood, which just sounds a little weird, but I think it's also therapeutic. Some parts of the wood needs a little bit more attention than the other, so this is something that's very personal for me. It's almost like every single thing that we all do is sort of taken like a Zen approach. During prep, we sort of are like into what we're doing, so it's sort of quiet and sort of Zen, like very Japanese. And during that moment, it kind of, you could reflect on what you're doing and how it should be and how you could better it the next time, even though you've done it 1,000 times. So that part, I think, is very, very, very important. Focusing on food, I think, is important, but, you know, yeah, a lot of Japanese restaurants you go and you actually feel like you're in church and you don't even know if you're enjoying it because it's so intense. I want to provide people who want to enjoy it, and that's sort of the goal.
Masa, he was sort of the original high-money sushi god. Jimmy Lau and Nick come out of the Masa tradition. Also, neither of them are Japanese, so they're not burdened by this tradition. So they can do all kinds of interesting things. And they are lucky enough to be in a situation where they're sort of set free. They have a golden ticket. They can experiment and do whatever they want.
We play a different type of music than the traditional Japanese restaurant. The way it's designed, the functionality, and even service-wise, there's a lot of subtle European techniques of service as well. A lot of Japanese people come here and they're a little bit kind of not know what's going on, but after they settle in, it all just sort of starts to make sense. And that always feels pretty good when a Japanese comes in here and kind of embraces it.
We want you to feel like you're in your living room enjoying a beautiful dinner with nice service and, you know, good atmosphere. If you're not having fun, what's the point? We offer 2 different tasting menus. So we offer an omakase sushi tasting menu, then we offer a kaiseki omakase as well.
The kaiseki menu is definitely thought first and foremost with the ideal of Japanese techniques and theories, having courses that sort of seamlessly go one after another. But I've also trained in France, somehow, some way, without even consciously thinking about it, sort of marry the things together. I would say it's definitely Japanese overtone with open to a lot of seasonality, things that come together well without any having to say it's this category, that category.
The apple pie, the notorious pie, Nick and his nephew Alex were always talking about apple pie and how much they enjoyed it and how much it brought them back to their childhood and stuff like that. And so it's kind of Nick's, you know, homage to his nephew and to his family that he wanted to put an apple pie in the menu for dessert.
Dessert is not a big Japanese thing. It's certainly not a big sushi thing. It's certainly not a big kaiseki thing. But they take apple pie, right, which they fold with some kind of miso and serve it with ice cream. And because it's apple pie, it's excellent, you know? And it's sort of, oh, apple pie, that's a good idea.
Any cuisine would be some parts is strong, like a very good, but also weak part. So how to take out the weak part and putting it together, the strong part, that would be more challenging.
For me, a lot of time is more sort of visual stimulations, especially in New York having 4 seasons. I know we don't have nature around us, but there's a lot of things that sometimes come together ever perfectly, like leaves falling down on the street. Sometimes it just looks like a beautiful salad. And so things like that definitely plays a part on the menu and specials. Jimmy does the foraging. Jimmy will go out and get things himself. Me, not as much. You know, I'll bring something back poisonous, maybe, I don't know. What is this?
This is not edible.
Oh, yeah? Oh, here's sour grass.
Oh, that's clove.
You should, not sour grass?
Not sour grass.
Sour?
But not sour grass.
Pretty good.
Jimmy's got quite the green thumb. He gardens quite a bit, and he likes to forage a lot too. Like he'll go foraging and he'll bring in some stuff for the restaurant, which is kind of fun. So he has that knowledge to where he knows what is edible, what's not, and what's good and what's not gonna work. And so he's really good at that aspect too, and bringing stuff that's like, no, this will be really good on this. Let's do this.
Jimmy, these are the books that I use when I'm thinking about Japanese cooking. Like I have other books, like French books, Chinese, etc.
Yes.
But so for Japanese, I use these 2. And this one actually is out of print. Look, see all the dandelions. They like tampopo. So they actually have a haiku about mugwort. Yomogi, right?
Yomogi.
In between withered clumps are seen the fresh green of mugwort. Okay, so all this stuff I didn't plant. So in the beginning, I tried to plant and everything dies, and all there is weeds. And then I found out, oh, this tastes better then. So none of this is planted.
And how long have you been supplying to Shuko?
Well, we've been talking, but I just started. Right?
Yeah,
just started. So this is the anise.
Smells good.
Smells good, yeah.
Yeah, this one can make a cocktail.
Yeah, a cocktail. This is
edible?
Yeah, Zizia, Golden Alexander. It's kind of like parsley tasting, but it's very pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah. You want to take some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take some.
See, that's the trail. This is called the Cook property.
Oh, yomogi.
I don't know how you like it. We pick this
normally
one.
I take it like this.
Really
the
good.
Younger.
You pick bigger.
Yeah, I use the leaf to make tempura.
Oh, like bigger ones.
So I normally use it here and here.
So if I brought it to you, it would be like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like this.
Not only do I have permission to forage here, but it's really a collaboration. So I'm actually stewarding this place. I'm assigned to this place. I'm supposed to be taking care of it. I really started from a point of the land and stewardship, but I ended up, because there's so many invasive plants that are good to eat, I ended up supplying a lot of restaurants with it, like chefs and other people. So this is Dame's Rocket. It's only just starting. It's very early. But here, why don't you try one? It's like unanimously loved. You know, the kaiseki is the highest form of, cooking to represent the seasons. Almost all of the dishes have something foraged in it because it has to come from the landscape. Foraging is not just, going in survival. It's really part of this whole ritual of kind of respect and appreciation of what's around us. And I just feel like the plants that are coming straight from nature that wanted to grow there is just so much more alive and happy.
Same thing like the seafood, when the fish, when they're happy and, that
With
time,
a good life.
with a good life, and at the time you cook them and can keep the beautiful color more longer. So right now, I gonna take a lot of the skill. Normally people use this skiller, just do this. When you push like that, inside the muscle gonna be a little bit damaged. So I use the knife to just between the skill and the skin to take out the skill. How much love you spend on that, you can taste it. We opened Shuko is the 2014, and now it's 7 months. Like I see the co-worker more than I see my family. Every day we stay together. It's a family.
For dinner, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, kitchen. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, sushi guys.
You always make something different?
Now, whatever I find on the web.
Family meal is something that's very important in this restaurant. We believe it, gets everybody the right energy for the day. You don't want to feed them anything too heavy so they don't go into a food coma, but, we make sure that they're good. And, they all sit down, they eat together. It kind of builds a camaraderie that way, and they tend to work better as a team that way.
I think the objective is to kind of remove this institution feeling of how restaurants are run. We try to eat together. During service, we're all sort of helping each other as a whole. From the porter to the owner, we're all just sort of together. There's no real separation. Sort of kind of move this thing together, kind of a team effort. Just overall, the world's getting a little smaller and everybody's getting a little bit more exposure than just several years ago.
I think omakase over the last 10 years, and this is specifically sushi omakase, it's replaced what used to be the great sort of power food, which was steak, lavish steak and foie gras. Sushi has replaced that. Sushi has this sort of whiff of internationalism, so it makes you feel like you've traveled the world.
A lot of French restaurants are using Japanese fish or ingredients, and I think that helps the barrier. We sort of want to achieve something that's just really good.
Actually, now I enjoying like when you make the good food and the people kind of smiling and they enjoying that and they make me so happy. Of course, if I see someone like this, and I would like, did I do something wrong? But if people are happy, they make me so happy.
It's definitely a personal thing. We're not driven by any like sort of format in some ways. We have our own format, but we're kind of open to making sure that everything should taste good. That's the goal.
Hi. So there's a few times where you just...
Oh, sorry.
You just keep it...
Right. No, I'm Italian, sorry.
Yeah.
I actually don't know how to talk unless I do this. No, I'm just playing. Just the Italian in me.